Today we are going to talk about how to use chalk pastels to create a quick background. So I have just a coloring book page instead of a drawing. Normally we would use a drawing, but I wanted this to be a quick tutorial. So we are wanting to make just a mushy green background, maybe even some blues for skies, some type of background for this bird. So I've chosen to use chalk pastels. It's quick, it's simple, easy to smear, easy to go on, doesn't take a lot of effort. So I think I'm going to start with some sky. So I'm just going to take a light blue and I'm going to use the chalk like a crayon. And I'm just going to kind of rub some of this blue around my areas. Now, if I accidentally get into an area of the bird or the leaves, it's okay. A lot of times you can erase chalk pastels, and you can certainly go over chalk pastels with other chalk pastels or with colored pencils, oil pastels, things of that nature. So I've got some blue in, and I'm just going to use my fingers to blend that in. And once I've blended the whole area of the blue, I'll be ready to add in my next color. So now that I've used my fingers to blend in the blue, I am going to add in some more colors. And I want to use some greens to kind of simulate the coloring of leaves and forests, that type of thing. So in this particular palette of chalk pastels, I have a bright green, I have a kind of a creamy green, and I have two darker greens. So I'm just going to pull all my greens. I'm also going to pull a brown because usually if there's leaves, there's branches. So I'm going to pull all my greens out and I'm going to add in a little here and a little there. So I know there's branches here. So that kind of tells me there might be branches somewhere else. So I'm just going to use some brown to add into my background. And I'm going to make some lines like some branches. And I'm not being very particular about how perfect these are because they are going to get blurred into the background. And I may not put too many. I may put more, maybe thicker, thinner. It kind of doesn't matter. Okay. Just creating background here. All right. From this point, I'm going to add a general color. So I'm going to add some of this bluey green color because it kind of goes with the sky. And again, I'm not too worried about it going into my objects in my main drawing because I can cover it up and sometimes erase it out. All right, so I've got some bluey green on top of my blue and in with my brown. All right, now I'm going to go in and I see in my drawing there's going to be some leaves. So I'm going to add in some leafy color and kind of in shapes that are similar to leaves. Nothing specific or perfect, just some shapes. Where there might be some other leaves. But again, I'm going to blend this together so they don't have to be perfect leaf shapes. I'm using a darker green, kind of doing the same thing. So here and there, adding in some green. Using the lightest green. I just like lights color. So. And I don't have to have it everywhere, just a little here, a little there. And now I'm ready to blend. So I'm going to use my fingers again. This one has blue on it. So I might want to wipe that off a little bit with a wet paper towel. I only have dry right now. But I want to kind of get rid of the blue. And then I'm going to take my finger and this time, so first I'm going to follow the branches that I made. And then I'm going to kind of use a circular motion on my green areas until I get that blended in. Once I start this, and once you start this, you may notice that all of those leaf forms seem to disappear. Some of the branches are staying, some of the leaf forms are disappearing. And To be honest, the leaf forms are disappearing more than I really hoped that they would. So what I'm going to do, once I get everything blended, and I'm just going to blend this part right now, I'm going to come back in and kind of add in some more leaf forms. So kind of put some on top. Not a lot, just a few, just to get some of those shapes back in. And you may like yours without it, and that's fine. But even though I'm putting these shapes back in, I'm still going to blend. Just putting another layer. So in art, everything is done with layers, layers and layers and layers. And I'm just going to keep layering until I like the way my background looks. Okay. Okay, so I've been blending on both sides of my background, and as I look at it, I see some areas that are kind of streaky, and I don't really like that. So I'm going to blend again with my finger. If the streaks don't go away, so for instance, if the streaks are this way, I can counteract those by coloring the opposite way and then blending. So if my streaks go left to right, I can color top to bottom and then use my finger to blend, and it usually has a softer look. So I do want a soft background look. There was a lot of blue, so I just used my green fingers and kind of came in and put in streaks and lines of green on top of the blue because I really wanted the blue to look like it was far away, not like it was right there next to the bird. So I put in some streaks with that. The other thing that I want you to pay careful attention to is that you want to go with your chalk all the way up to the animal. You can see I covered a lot of mine, but all the way up to. You don't want to leave a white ghosted space around the animal. Again, you will be able to either erase this out or cover it up with your next medium. You might be using chalk, you might be using oil pastel, colored pencil, whatever, but we can definitely cover it up with the next medium. But this is pretty much how you make that smushy background very quickly with chalk. I think the total thing has taken me less than 10 minutes.